All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something totally wild. We are dissecting this incredibly fascinating multi-agent architecture known as race condition. Now, we aren't just talking about a couple of chatbots passing text back and forth here. No, we are looking at a massive, real-time simulation built on Google Cloud. We're going to break down exactly how developers architected a system capable of handling a dizzying amount of simultaneous, independent AI agents without the whole thing just completely crashing down.
And when I say massive scale, I literally mean 1,000. We aren't just looking at, simple data points on a graph here. We are talking about 1,000 independent AI agent sessions running a real-time virtual marathon right through the streets of Las Vegas. Each one of these agents is thinking, reacting, and communicating all at the exact same time. Let me tell you, getting 1,000 AI agents to do anything simultaneously without introducing immense latency is a monumental engineering challenge.
So here's our roadmap for today's technical deep dive. We'll be hitting 1. The marathon spectacle, 2. The 4-layer blueprint, 3. The polyglot stack, 4. The networking bottleneck, 5. The Redis solution, and finally, 6. Looking ahead. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the marathon spectacle, and see these AI agents in motion. Picture a digital map of Las Vegas, completely filled with 1,000 moving dots. But the thing is, those aren't just location markers. Every single dot represents a real-life runner simulation, making independent, dynamic decisions based on its specific environment. The system is constantly checking their hydration levels and their velocity. These runner agents actually decide entirely on their own whether they need to grab a drink at a water station, which obviously changes their energy levels. They have dynamic pacing too, so some are sprinting, some are jogging, and some might even completely hit the wall and just slow way down. It's essentially this beautifully chaotic simulation of a massive human event. Moving on to section 2, let's look at the 4-layer blueprint and deconstruct this whole system. So how do you actually build this? The entire race condition system is grounded in a really clean 4-layer blueprint where information just flows seamlessly from top to bottom. Right at the top, you have the Angular front end. That's the visual UI living in the browser where you actually watch the race happen. Right beneath that is the Go gateway. Think of this as the ultimate backend for front-end. It handles all the central message passing. Then we hit the brains of the operation, a network of Python agents built with the Agent Development Kit, or ADK for short. And finally, supporting the whole shebang at the bottom is the infrastructure layer, which uses Redis and PubSub protocols to physically handle the communication routing.
Which brings us to section 3, the polyglot stack, specifically looking at Go versus Python. The developers went with a strict best tool for the job philosophy here. Go is essentially the brawn. It acts like a high concurrency traffic cop. It can juggle thousands of WebSockets and route millions of messages without even breaking a sweat. It manages all that real-time communication heavy lifting perfectly. On the flip side, Python is the brains. They needed Python to tap into the rich ecosystem of the Agent Development Kit. So Python houses all the actual AI logic. It manages the large language model lifecycles, including stuff like automated retries and exponential backoffs if the network hiccups, and it manages the tools the agents use. By isolating that complex AI logic in clean Python modules and letting Go handle the chaotic real-time web traffic, the whole system just stays incredibly snappy. All right, on to section 4. Let's talk about the networking bottleneck, or what happens when the architecture hits the wall. To really understand this bottleneck, we have to contrast the two entirely different types of agents operating in this system. First, you've got your thinkers. These are your planner and simulator agents. They kind of just sit around totally idle, scaled all the way down to 0, waiting for a standard HTTP request to wake them up. And that's totally fine, because they operate at a super low frequency. Then you have the doers, our 1,000 marathon runner agents. They need instant, high-scale, simultaneous communication. When the devs originally tried using standard HTTP agent-to-agent communication for these 1,000 runners, it just completely failed to scale. I mean, the overhead of opening individual HTTP connections for 1,000 agents at the exact same millisecond, it was way too heavy. And that brings us to this incredible realization from Casey West, the developer advocate who helped build this. He noted, once you optimize your agents, really, the network becomes the bottleneck. See, the system needed to collect responses from all 1,000 agents in under 10 seconds. The agents themselves were fast enough, but standard HTTP protocols physically couldn't move the data fast enough without crippling the system with overhead. They desperately needed a paradigm shift. So, how did they fix it? Section 5, the Redis solution, and achieving sub-millisecond scale. The massive shift here was moving from callable mode over standard HTTP to subscriber mode over Redis. This fundamentally changes the entire communication pathway. In subscriber mode, these runner agents don't just sit around waiting for a direct one-to-one web request. Instead, they hold a long-lived open subscription to a Redis channel. It's brilliant because a single message published to that channel wakes up every single agent instantly, entirely bypassing that nasty latency of opening 1,000 standard HTTP connections. And why Redis specifically? Well, because the scale is just mind-boggling. Google Cloud's managed Redis service, memory store, can handle roughly 100,000 concurrent incoming messages simultaneously on just a single node. That's insane. So handling 1,000 agents wasn't just possible, it barely even scratched the surface of what the infrastructure could actually do.
So in practice, this translates into this incredibly elegant workflow during the simulation. Step 1. The simulator agent publishes a single tick message to the Redis channel, basically yelling, "Hey, time has moved forward." Step 2. Because they all hold those long-lived subscriptions, all 1,000 runner agents see that single message and wake up at the exact same instant. Step 3. They calculate their new distance, check their hydration, make their AI decisions, and boom, respond in sub-millisecond times. Absolutely zero HTTP handshakes required. Now, you might be wondering, how does the system actually keep this all straight? How does it know to use HTTP for the planner, but Redis for the runners? It uses a clever concept called agent cards. Think of an agent card like a JSON-formatted LinkedIn profile for an AI. When the Go gateway routes a message, it dynamically reads the recipient's agent card on the fly. If the card says the agent's dispatch method is callable, it fires off an HTTP request. But if it says subscriber, it routes it straight through Redis. It is dynamic, flexible, and lightning fast. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, looking ahead to AI versus deterministic logic. Because here is the real secret of massive multi-agent systems. Not everything needs to be an LLM. Sure, we have 1,000 agents running around, but when does the system actually use a heavy, computationally expensive AI model? And when does it just say, you know what, let's skip the AI entirely in favor of fast, hard-coded, deterministic logic? Understanding that balance is absolutely crucial to building production-ready AI systems today. But honestly, that is a massive topic all on its own. So we're going to leave you to ponder that balance for now, and we will unpack exactly how they blend AI and traditional code in our next explainer. Thanks so much for joining us.